We are jumping right into a massive story that's been completely dominating the health news cycle lately, and that is the Andes hantavirus outbreak. My goal for us today is to just lay out the clear, structured facts. We want to understand exactly what's going on in the world right now without falling into the trap of unnecessary panic, because there's a lot of that going around. We've got some really fascinating science to cover, so let's just get right into it. Now, you might be wondering, is there a brand new virus we need to worry about? If you've spent any time at all scrolling through social media recently, you've probably seen the word hantavirus trending heavily. There's a ton of public concern out there right now, and frankly, a lot of anxious rumors swirling around. And it's completely natural to feel a bit on edge when you keep hearing about a new health threat. You're seeing these terrifying buzzwords, right? Things like pandemic, deadly cluster, and person-to-person just flooding your timelines. Honestly, it's enough to make anyone want to start stocking up on masks all over again. But okay, let's take a breath, dive into this, and separate the scary fiction from the grounded facts. We really need to look at what this virus actually is and how it's behaving. Let's start by looking at the current situation, specifically this cruise ship cluster. To really get what's behind the headlines, we need to track exactly what the World Health Organization and the CDC are looking at. Back in April, a cruise ship called the MV Hondius departed Argentina. Now, this wasn't your standard tropical sipping drinks by the pool kind of cruise. It traveled through incredibly remote areas like Antarctica and South Georgia. And it wasn't until May 2026 that a cluster of illnesses was officially identified near Cabo Verde. This remote, isolated journey provides absolutely crucial context for where and how this specific outbreak started. Now, what's absolutely critical to keep in mind right now is the number 8. Out of all the global panic and the viral tweets, we're currently looking at just 8 confirmed or probable cases. Visualizing that is super important because it grounds us, right? While the situation definitely requires serious attention from health officials, we are tracking a very localized, small cluster of individuals right now. We are not looking at a massive global wave. But we do have to pause and respectfully acknowledge the gravity here. 3. Tragically, there have been 3 deaths so far associated with this outbreak. This is a severe illness, and the stakes for those directly involved on that ship were and are incredibly high. It's a sobering reminder of exactly why global health monitoring is just so critical. So what does this all mean? Why is a tiny cluster making global front-page news? Well, it all comes down to the specific strain of the virus, the Andes strain. This is the real differentiator here. The Andes virus is literally the only hantavirus strain we know of that spreads from human to human through close contact. Because of that unique trait, health officials are moving with incredible urgency. They're tracking down passengers who's already gone back to their home countries, including the US, just to make absolutely sure it doesn't spread any further. Which brings us to what hantavirus actually is, and the science behind these headlines. First off, let me just reassure you, while the cruise ship event is new, this virus is definitely not a mystery. Scientists have studied it for decades. Let's break down what it actually does to the human body. In the Americas, hantavirus causes HPS, or Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome. It's a severe respiratory disease, and it's kind of tricky because it mimics the flu at first. You get a fever, muscle aches, fatigue, but then it aggressively targets the lungs. It causes them to fill with fluid, which makes it incredibly difficult for the patient to breathe. And the severity is very real. Historically, we're looking at a fatality rate of about 39%. That is a huge number. On top of that, there's no specific vaccine or targeted cure for HPS right now. If someone catches it, treatment relies almost entirely on supportive care in an ICU, basically helping the body breathe while it fights off the infection on its own. So, here's the real game changer. Usually, like 99% of the time, hantavirus spreads from a rodent to a human. Out in the western US, it's usually the deer mouse, and you get it by accidentally inhaling tiny microscopic particles of their droppings or urine. Gross, I know. But contrast that with the rare Andes strain from our cruise ship. It bypasses the rodent entirely and spreads human to human via close, prolonged contact. That difference is exactly why the WHO is on such high alert. Okay, so let's assess the real risk here. Should you panic? Now that we've got the science down, let's talk about your actual threat level. Maria Van Kerkhove from the WHO put it perfectly. This is not the same situation we were in 6 years ago. Health officials are really stepping up as the adults in the room here. They want us to know that they understand this virus, they have the tools to test for it, and most importantly, they know exactly how to stop it from spreading. We are absolutely not flying blind. And that really hits the nail on the head. The CDC's risk assessment is crystal clear on this. First off, the risk to the general American public is officially rated as extremely low. Why? Because this is not COVID-19. It doesn't spread through the air across a crowded room. It requires very intimate, prolonged contact with someone who's infected or direct exposure to infectious rodents. Plus, the CDC and the State Department are already actively monitoring the U.S. passengers from that ship. Basically, unless you were literally on the MV Hondius, you are highly, highly likely to be perfectly fine.
Let's talk about practical prevention and how you can protect yourself at home.
Because even though this specific cruise ship outbreak isn't a daily threat to you, standard hantavirus is still out there, especially if you live in a rural area where deer mice are common. So here are 3 practical life-saving steps you can literally take today. Step 1, seal up. Do a perimeter check of your house and keep those rodents out. Step 2, and this is absolutely crucial, wet it down. If you find mouse droppings in an old shed or your garage, never ever sweep or vacuum them dry. That launches the virus right up into the air you're breathing. Instead, spray the area heavily with bleach or good disinfectant first. And finally, step 3, clean smart. Wipe up that wet area with paper towels and make sure you're wearing gloves and a mask. It's such a simple routine, but it actively saves lives. Which kind of leaves us with one final provocative question. In this age of viral rumors, is our biggest threat the actual disease? Or is it the panic? The situation with the MV Hondius is undeniably tragic for those affected, but the science shows us that for the vast majority of us, everyday life goes on. By relying on structured facts and just taking a few simple preventative measures at home, we can safely navigate both the wild health news and our actual health. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.